VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack. Hiya, I'm your host Terry J. and welcome to this inaugural installment of VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack, a place to focus on my other media collection, my music collection, a nostalgic grab bag of how now and what's that, close to 4,000 songs I've been collecting since the late 80s, which is just about as long as the video collection I've been exploring for a few years in my more established effort, VideoFuzzy, which that podcast got underway in 2017. Getting the title problem right out of the way, yes, I'm still fuzzy, and these songs represent the soundtrack of my life, but video? No part of this is visual. Au contraire, mon frere. There will be a visual component to this effort because I will not be incurring the wrath of the Spotify track checkers by including actual music in this, and there went my audience. Yeah, I know a lot of music-centric nostalgia casts play commercial tracks with impunity because no one's caught them or stopped them. But this is a hobby for me, and I am willing to incur up to and including $0 in legal costs for chatting about my music collection. Rather, I will talk about any song in my collection in whatever detail seems merited, and where possible, I will share a link to tracks and videos shared by the license holders themselves, and you can check them out, see what you think, remember them along with me, and see how those memories hold up. Anyone joining me here because you heard about this effort in episode 84 of VideoFuzzy, welcome. You should know in that summary I shared at the end I needed to condense the origin story for this effort, and in doing so, eluded a few realities. First, I've been clicking through my music collection for a few months now, first to identify missing songs, and next to properly assign star ratings to them. Transferring my music library from machine to machine, some of my Apple Music purchases under a now long-defunct Apple ID did not transfer properly, and the PC on which they currently reside is not authorized to play them. I determined this was the case for 251 songs in a music catalog that includes some 3,900 songs, some brought in from analog and digital media sources, many purchased through iTunes itself, and some through a long-ago email. After many attempts to reactivate it, one which involved taking half a day off work and road tripping 3 hours round trip to Minot, North Dakota, I've determined that email account is a Norwegian blue parrot pining for the fjords. And iTunes can't reauthorize them because they were purchased between 2006 and 2009, and iTunes purchase history only goes back to 2013. Those files are lost to me, never to be retrieved, but so be it. Bringing us right to the point of this whole thing. Ange?
If a person's got a music collection, they ought to listen to it.
Thank you, Angelina Caskin. She helped me get VideoFuzzy on the road 5 years ago. Love that she helped with this one, too. Yes, it's one thing to have a bunch of songs to listen to. It's quite another to want to. To be sure, a lot of them are awesome. I bought them as cassettes, CDs, and MP3 singles, specifically because I loved them. That's the case for a good chunk of those 251 lost songs, for sure. And a lot of them are by artists I love, like Ani DeFranco, Tori Amos, R.E.M. So when I buy the LPs, I'm going to enjoy most of the songs on it. Then there are music collections I bought because I was looking for a specific vibe for a show I was in or that about, and got exposure to sounds from an era. Or, oh wow, yeah, soundtracks. Holy God, some marketing genius stuck the only song I want to hear in an album-only situation. So I've got to buy the whole album if I want to hear Carla DeVito singing We Are Not Alone from The Breakfast Club, which, of course, why wouldn't anyone want to hear that song all the time? That'll be $15.99, please. Now, I've been pleasantly surprised by entries in song collections and soundtracks, of course, but the fact is that there's a lot of music in this collection that I'm happy to have and might be of interest sometimes, like Christmas music, for example, but I won't need to hear in any kind of rotation. So, I've got top-rated 5-star entries, songs, pieces of my soul I absolutely want to hear any time. Then I've got excellent songs I'm happy to hear once in a while. Those will be 4 stars. There's songs I'll totally keep but don't need to hear all that often, and that's the 3-star set. And then there's real clinkers that I can't imagine needing to ever hear again, but they're part of a collection or something, so they're in here as 2 stars. Then I've got my 1-star rating, and those are for recordings that are not songs at all. Like, I've got all of my recordings for my old podcast, TV's The New Reading. I've got comic sketches by Monty Python, or spoken word entries from, say, the companion piece to Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog commentary. They're not songs, so those will get 1 star and would never be in rotation. As I go, I'm listening to the entire song, so by the time I'm done, I'm going to have listened to my whole collection. Part of this is because, well, in the spirit of the comment above there, I really should know what I've got in there. And another get to in a moment here, but there are songs in my collection that transferred badly. Seriously, I've got songs in here that cut out halfway through. As I encounter them, those files will get deleted, and I will either track them down and bring them in properly, or else the fact that half the song was missing was a clear indication of my level of interest in the first place. My plan of action, a couple weeks ago, I saved all the A artists in my collection to my MP3 player, assigned star ratings to the songs as I listened to them. Once I was done with all my A artists, I saved all of my B artists to the player and did the same thing, and as I'm writing this, I'm just finishing my collection of C artists. What's fun is that the MP3 player plays them alphabetically by song title, not the artist. So I'm listening to a bunch of different songs by a bunch of different artists in no particular order beyond what they decided to name them. That is a fun way to listen to my collection. Since I started this, I've heard a bunch of music I haven't heard in years, and very, very slowly my collection is getting more and more organized. Yeah, I mentioned back in episode 33 of VideoFuzzy, September of 2018, around the 350 mark. I said I had about 150 songs hanging around the bottom of my iTunes library that had no information on them. None. 150 mystery songs. I plucked one from the list and found it was a Christmas song. In August, I was able to go through all of them and identify what I had. As I suspected, a lot of them were duplicates that happened over multiple transfers of my library from machine to machine, and in those cases, I kept the one that sounded better. I had a few CDs I brought in for music reviews back when it was something I did, and in those cases, I re-entered the artist names and such. The funniest thing was, at the time, September of 2018, I made this prediction. No, I'm not starting a new podcast to figure out what all music I've got in my collection. Yeah, well, I feel pretty confident saying that what I didn't know then would fill libraries, because it still would. No psychic me, but I guess I'll have the same rules going forward. Limit inside baseball. Some what I find in this mess is going to be kind of cool, but if I find I'm getting too far into the weeds on sound levels and transfer quality, I'll just drop that backspace. And limit trivia. Everyone's got the same internet I got. Most of what I plan to include is when I'm going through and I find songs that were significant to me or spark a memory, I may share it. The initial motivation for this is to make connections, and I feel like this will be a good place to talk about them. And then reach out. I started out by saying I want to avoid copyright infringement. I have my music, you have your music. Artists should get paid for their work, so I'll likely refer listeners to where license holders have shared their work, and hopefully we can all just enjoy the music safely and within everyone's distribution agreements. And if me talking about something inspires anyone to buy it, or as is more often the case now, add it to streaming playlists where available, I'm happy to have helped. That said, another departure from VideoFuzzy is I won't be blogging my music collection anywhere. I'm not planning to share it to anyone seeking sound files seek elsewhere. And now... We are in early days on this. I've only got the broadest idea of what this will actually become, if anything. But just as a taste, as I was clicking through my collection, I encountered a song by R.E.M. off their New Adventures in Hi-Fi LP, track 12, titled So Fast, So Numb. That song and video are all over the place, and I can include a link in my show notes. I let it play. I was amazed. I got the LP when it came out in 1996, so it's not that I'd never heard it or anything. I know I haven't listened to it in a long, long time, and the lyrics hitting my ears were just revitalized. R.E.M. lead vocals Michael Stipe sang, "You blast yourself into the present, blur some past indignity, drinking raw adrenal, baby. Do-si-do-si-do. You're all cartilage, shark eyes, shark heart, all present tense. Boy, your blood's running cold. Listen, this is now. This is here. This is me. This is what I wanted you to see." Stipe's lyrics have been described as confessional, but I'm hearing something accusatory in this. The energy is wild chaos, moving through rough waters, motel boy, swimming in your sleep, to the shark imagery, the cold black eyes, relentless cartilaginous predation. I don't know what happened, but you're coming on something so fast, so numb, you can't even feel. Reading through the lyrics, there's a quality to Stipe's vocals that have been true since I first encountered him in the 1980s. It's not exactly mumblecore, but you can hear what you need to. I don't know the outcome of this conversation, this song, but I'm amazed that it exists. I needed to hear something so present, so now, so already exploded shrapnel in the past. That was then, that was gone, that past. You cast yourself, passed by, thrown down fast. I feel it was a song I needed to hear, and I haven't engaged with my own music collection in literally years. A lot of it, stuff I wanted to hear and listen to, was missing. It was gone. Most of the music I transferred to my MP3 player would get ignored anyway because I've mostly been listening to podcasts lately. Well, now I'm making a conscious effort to re-engage with my music collection as well. I've already rediscovered a lot of fun things in the short time I started doing this. I'm gonna find a lot of stuff I haven't heard in years, and if any of it piques my interest, I'm a guess it might pique yours as well. It's gonna be a bit before I get everything set up for my first actual installment here, but everything's gotta start somewhere, right? We've mapped the terrain, let's find out where it takes us. For VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack, I'm your host, Terry J. Allen. Happy listening.